Hi, hello, and welcome to my show. There were a lot of mixed reviews about the first video where I was talking about the ex-Muslim community, and I wanted to continue because I guess I'm that bitch. There goes my monetization. I'm not going to bother editing this video. I think that the best way to keep this as frank as possible is to keep it uncut. I do not script my videos. I have made a little list of notes, so this may be a very long video, but I try not to script it because, as I've said, I try to keep, especially things that I'm passionate about, I try to keep them uncut and I try to keep them unscripted as much as possible. Most of my videos are unscripted because I don't have time for that. But in the last video, we talked about how the ex-Muslim community is in fact a community, and there has been some response to that, both privately and publicly, about how it's not a community, it's not comparable to Islam, I hate to break it to you, but for a community to be a community, it does not need to have a central doctrine, it does not need to have central leaders, it does not need to have much besides a defining quality that brings people together, such as a label that is widely used, like the ex-Muslim label. I am a firm believer that this notion that the ex-Muslim community is not a community is used as a deflection to not address the problems that we have in this community, and I am frankly quite tired of it. I would like for people to be held accountable when they are frankly being awful, and I would like for people to be able to hold them accountable without a horde of their stans and simps coming along and bullying them off the platform, which has happened quite a few times. It almost happened to me. So yeah, I really and truly value authenticity, I value growth, and I value accountability. Let's not say honesty, because I feel like that's too high a bar to set for anybody, like expecting everyone to be honest all of the time. But accountability. You make a mistake, you own up, and we move along. That is how we improve. And also, it is for the benefit of the community that we criticize communities. It is for the benefit of growth that we criticize things. It may not be constructive, it may be extremely malicious, but at the end of the day, if you're right, you're right. That's my take. Like, it doesn't really matter in what form criticism comes to me. If the person criticizing me is correct, then they're correct. And while I don't intend to maliciously attack the ex-Muslim community, I am still part of the ex-Muslim community and I intend to stay a part of it. I do feel that there are things that are being overlooked that need to be highlighted and resolved. And the things that we are going to talk about today is mainly safeguarding, what I would recommend, what I would not recommend. And it just seems to be this massive oversight in our community that is filled with vulnerable people. Now, from the last video, some people were saying, Faye, why are you calling the ex-Muslim community dysfunctional? Because most communities are dysfunctional. I hate to break it to you. Most communities are dysfunctional. The only communities that are fully functional are hive minds and cults. There's nothing wrong with a dysfunctional community. Most communities are dysfunctional. But my point was that it doesn't matter how dysfunctional the ex-Muslim community is, it doesn't stop it from being a community. Let's talk about safeguarding. Safeguarding is a topic that I take very, very, very seriously. And it is, as I said in the last video, extremely insulting to me when I raise safeguarding issues in the ex-Muslim community and people just say that I'm trying to belittle someone for bringing up these issues. I am an educator. I am someone who works with a lot of vulnerable people. I work with people who have mental health issues. I work with people who have physical disabilities, learning difficulties. I work with very, very neurodiverse people, and these are vulnerable young people that I work with, and I take safeguarding care of vulnerable people and minors very, very seriously. I always have and I always will. It is my profession. I intend to stay in this profession for a while. The degree I'm doing is to pursue a career in looking out for vulnerable minors and young people. And I take it very, very seriously. And it's extremely insulting to me that some people think that I talk about these issues because I have a chip on my shoulder for some reason. And I would like to, I'm reading from my notebook. Now that I've introduced safeguarding, I want to make it explicitly clear that this is just my personal experience that I am sharing, and that everyone might have a different experience and feel differently. But I would like to reiterate something that I said on Twitter a few weeks ago, that just because you have not experienced any kind of negative conversations with certain ex-Muslims does not mean that those negative conversations and experiences don't exist. Please do not invalidate the things that people have gone through. I think that my experience over the last year in the ex-Muslim community is an important one to document. And if I have things to report, I think that they need to be reported. It's something that I feel the need to do in order to be completely transparent, not just with my audience, but with everyone in the community, to tell everybody exactly how I feel. And again, I would like to reiterate that I am not leaving the community. I'm just relating an experience and my own opinions. And even if you don't agree with me, I would like you to at least respect the fact that these are my experiences and my opinions, and I'm allowed to have them. So what is safeguarding? Safeguarding is making sure to take care of the most vulnerable people in our community. And our community, ex-Muslims, are some of the most vulnerable people that I've come across in a while. We have vulnerable people, and we have minors, and we have vulnerable minors in this community. And we have a plethora of that in this community. And I think that it is of paramount importance that we take care of these people. Now, I'm not saying on an individual level. I think that's a little bit unrealistic to expect. But I think that having in place certain measures to make sure that these people do not go through any more than they have already gone through is extremely important. Sometimes it's difficult to separate how you see someone online compared to how they really are in their private lives or in their personal lives. Parasocial relationships and their effect on people are a very, very real thing, and I would highly encourage that any ex-Muslims who are joining the community, who are listening to this right now, I would highly recommend that you do not seek out individual personalities in the ex-Muslim community to give you advice, because, and this is one of the reasons that I don't personally like giving advice, it's because everyone's situation is so different. My situation was extremely dangerous, other people's situations were not very dangerous, so the advice that I could give you is from one perspective. And not just that, I am very, very sorry to say that I have observed things over the last year that honestly just keep me up at night sometimes, because there are people in this community who are predatory and extremely manipulative, and I would prefer not to refer you to those individual people to seek advice from. I will get into organizations that I would recommend, organizations that I will not recommend, but this is something that I would like to highlight. Being an ex-Muslim personality myself, who am I? I could be anybody. I joined this community a year ago. I am a very public figure in the movement. I'm not as public as some people, but I am quite a big figure in the movement. People know who I am. People know my face in this community. But ultimately, you do not know who I am. Most people do not know who I am. People don't know what my past is, because there are such few public ex-Muslims. It gives public ex-Muslims this platform to speak to ex-Muslims, and because of that, I think there isn't much of a vetting process in place for who this person is, what this person's history is, and stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying that every individual ex-Muslim person should be vetted, that we should have a criminal record for what they do. All I'm saying is that these people could be anybody. Yes, they are ex-Muslims. Yes, they have shared their experience and their voice is very, very important. But just because they had this experience and you relate to that experience, that does not mean that they are necessarily a good person for you to speak to about sensitive issues that you are going through. And please also be aware, and it's not my story to tell, which is why I'm not saying any names, but there are people in this community who are extremely, extremely just despicable in their personal lives. And I've experienced that firsthand, not from just one person, but quite a few people. So do remember that almost anybody can be an activist, and there seems to be this lack of awareness around vetting. But what I will recommend, I'm just turning over so that I know what I'm talking about. What I will recommend is different organizations, and I feel at my own leisure to be able to recommend organizations that I have worked with. I am currently a speaker for Faith to Faithless, which is a child company, if it's called that. The parent company is Humanists UK, but I am a speaker for Humanists or Faith to Faithless, and I deeply recommend them. I think they're an amazing organization. They provide all kinds of services, not just for ex-Muslims, but for the police force, for, you know, staff in schools and stuff like that, to teach them about apostasy and the things that people go through when they leave Islam and stuff like that. They're an amazing organization, and I know that they vet people. I know that there is a DBS check, there's a criminal record check. It's a proper organization. Another organization that I would recommend from the bottom of my heart is the Council of Ex-Muslims of Britain. I'm a project manager for the Council of Ex-Muslims of Britain. I joined this year, but I have become very quick friends with Mariam Namazi. She's kind of like my mum. And I know how deeply and how seriously they take safeguarding. I know how seriously they take it. So those are two places that I would so massively recommend. To such a point that when anyone tells me that they are having trouble in their homes, that they are having trouble leaving their country, that they are in fear of their life, these are the people that I will send you to. When you DM me and you're like, hey, I need this advice, I will not be the first one to give you advice, because again, I don't feel right about that. I will forward you to these organizations who are much more qualified than I am to undertake this this role, because first of all, it's a lot of pressure on me, and second of all, they would be much better at directing you to the right sources. So moving on to a slightly more sticky situation, there is an organization that I would not recommend, and the only reason I'm speaking about this, part of it is because I've had beef with the founder, and I will not be mentioning their name because I refuse to. The last time I mentioned them was the last time I will ever be mentioning them until something else happens. But one of the reasons I do want to talk about this organization is because it was heavily promoted by my channel for such a long time until I left this year. And this organization is Faithless Hijabi. And the reason I am deciding to talk to you about this is because I have had problems with the founder, and I have had problems with the company. The company itself has a lack of vetting. I was not vetted, even though I'm vetted by schools and by all of the voluntary organizations that I work with outside of schools. My criminal record is completely clean. But again, I could be anybody, and vetting is necessary, especially in an organization that claims to support people who have mental health issues. And also, I was dealing with a lot of stories from a lot of people who wanted support and wanted advice and wanted help. And again, not vetting and not taking the steps to make sure that all of your members are well vetted is just a massive oversight. There is a lot of the work ethic the work ethic in Faithless Hijabi is subpar, to say it well. Volunteers were often guilted into doing things. They were often made to work a lot more than they should have as volunteers. I was an editor there. I created a lot of content for Faithless Hijabi. I set up the website. I managed the Facebook page. I did a lot more than maybe I should have been doing. And I took a break in August and then returned, I think, February, and then left later this year. And, while I'm not a founder, I was one of the few people who first joined this organization. And certain things were said from the founder about this organization, that it was registered as a charity, that the founder did not want crowdfunding. But funnily enough, now the company runs on crowdfunding since myself and another volunteer from the organization left. I don't know what that's about. I'm just stating what I have to state. It doesn't treat its members well, is what I'm saying. The organization does not treat its members well. And the last and final thing that I would like to say about the organization is a story about my interview process. My interview process for this organization consisted of the founder getting me excessively drunk so that it would loosen my tongue and I would be honest. Now, I'm generally quite an outward, honest person anyway. I like to be an open book so that people can make their judgments and choose to stay or leave. But it's a pretty scummy thing to do, especially when you admit it and you say, I like to get people drunk when I first meet them. It's an extremely predatory thing to do, and I do not appreciate it. So because Faithless Hijabi as a company has been promoted on my channel, and even if you go through some of my old videos, the links might still be there. I'm sure I must have missed one or two. Because it's been promoted on my channel, I feel like I need to denounce it publicly. I'm sure people will take issue with this. I am just doing what I feel like I need to do. And again, this has just been my experience and my opinion, and I'm allowed to have them. As to what people may say, like, Faye, are you saying that they don't have good intentions? Are you saying that they're doing this for themselves? Are they malicious? I don't know what's in people's hearts. I can just tell you what I have experienced myself. And I really, really, really want to drive it home that if you are an ex-Muslim in this community and you are vulnerable, I would discourage you from seeking out individual activists, be that myself or anyone else. I would really, really, really encourage you to go straight to an org. There are other orgs that, while I may not recommend, have a good reputation generally, like ExMNA or the Ex-Muslims of North America, Free Hearts, Free Minds, and other ex-Muslim organizations around the world. But the ones that I would personally recommend are Humanist UK or Faith to Faithless, and CEMB or Council of Ex-Muslims of Britain. And I would extremely not recommend Faithless Hijabi, just based on my time there, and my personal discrepancies with the founder and the things that they have done. But anyway, thank you for hearing me out today. I know that there were some people who wanted me to comment on the situation in Nigeria. As of here and now, I am researching into the issue. We should absolutely end SARS. I'm not making an issue out of that, but I do want to collect all the research that needs to be collected before I make a video on it. So it may be a few days before that comes out. I also, on a slightly lighter note, I also have some palette reviews that are coming out, and I hope that you guys are looking forward to that, because life is too short to be serious all the time. And yeah, I have some serious stuff to say, but I also enjoy having fun. This look, I recorded it. I intend to edit it, and I intend to put out a video on it. So if you are looking forward to that kind of content, please do, please do feel free to check it out. Make sure to subscribe. I have this board that my lovely friend Alicia gave me, with all of my socials on them. This is my Discord hashtag, and this is my Discord @ this is my Twitter @ and this is my Instagram @ for my artwork. And if you hadn't noticed, some of it is up here. If you have artwork that you would like me to put on my walls in my storage unit that I am calling my dream space, please do DM it to me, email it to me, send it to me somehow so that I can print it out and I can put it here. Also, I would like to say that I'm gonna not monetize this video, just because I don't feel right about it, but also in lieu of this video not being monetized, I have opened a Teespring, and it would be cool for you to support my artwork if you want to. I'll leave everything in the description down below, and I will also leave links to the Council of Ex-Muslims and to Faith to Faithless, so that, you guys can check it out. And I'll probably remove all of the other stuff that is usually in my description. My description area needs a lot of zhuzhing anyway. But anyway, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you very, very soon. I finally feel like I'm back to be on the online world, and it feels kind of good. Not just to make videos, but uncut videos, because I kind of miss this format where I didn't have to edit anything. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to close out the video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful evening, morning, daytime, whatever, and I'll see you next time. Bye.